want to start off the show talking about the local real estate statistics. We talk about them every single month, and I'm going to talk about both Tampa and Sarasota today just to give our listeners a little bit of a scope of what's going on in both of those markets. In Tampa, March saw 2,687 home sales with an average sale price of $231,962. Average time on market of 67 and inventory of 2.9 months. A couple of interesting facts. This is the third month in a row that we've seen a year-over-year decline in the number of home sales. That's something we haven't seen in a long time. And they're not huge declines, but considering we've gone through a several-year period where year-over-year just about every month we saw an increase, I find that a little concerning. Average sale price $231,962, up from $209 last year, so about a 15% increase year over year in our average sale price in Tampa Bay. 2.9 months of inventory is just a very little inventory, so homes are selling fast, especially in the mid-level price ranges. As you climb the price charts, that changes a little bit when you get up into the $1 million homes where there's a lot of inventory. But ultimately a healthy real estate market, a lot of great signs, a little bit of stabilization we're starting to see in the number of home sales though, which has some economists a little concerned. I don't think locally we have too much to worry about, but still 2,687 home sales was slightly off from last year's number, and an average sale price of $231,962. Now rolling on to
kind of makes you wonder why people aren't out there buying, or just because they're not anything to buy.
That's part of it. 2.9 months of inventory is very little inventory. You've got a lot of sellers still in a negative position. You've got people deciding to stay put and add on to their home. Right. And then you've got first-time home buyers just deciding to wait. I mean, we had a couple this week that we were working with that was a friend of a friend, and they're afraid to buy because they're afraid of the bottom falling out like what happened the last time. That apparently they had bought at the peak before and sold and lost, and now they don't want to go through the same troubles again. So certainly there is some of that fear out there from people, and it's understandable because real estate is cyclical. I mean, we go through cycles every 7 to 10 years where it's up and then it's down, and but in reality, if you buy for the long term, you'll be okay. And I don't think our market is going to see any drop off for the next year or two in terms of any major changes, but we're going to see some slowdown in the number of sales. Inventory is an issue, and builders have picked some of that up, but even they're starting to slow a little bit. I start to see some of the promotions that builders are doing, and it tells me that maybe people aren't as in tune with buying new homes, or maybe they don't want to live out in the suburbs as much. So especially when you look at Riverview, Brandon, Valrico, and that's really where the largest concentration of new construction is. But the one thing that does concern me is the increase in inventory of and the unsold homes in the $1 million plus range. Our market is super healthy, 200 to 400, but if you look in the really high price ranges in Tampa, it's really starting to saturate. We're starting to see over amount of inventory, way more than we need. And what's happened is we've lost our international buyers because the exchange rates aren't healthy enough anymore. And people just that's a segment of the buyer audience in that price point that we've lost. And I hear some of the same rumblings from friends in Miami and friends in LA, and that's usually one of the first signs that a market starts to stabilize and make some changes, when you see that pressure on the upper end market. Now, that's what's happening in Tampa. Sarasota is a little bit different of an animal because, again, they're more of a vacation market. Sarasota's peak season is, a little bit opposite of Tampa's. Sarasota's stats, talking about single family homes in Sarasota County, you saw an increase of an average sale price from 303 to 356, a 17% increase in the average sale price. Month supply of inventory has gone up a little bit from 4.5 months to 4.7 months. When you talk about single-family homes in Manatee County, those have also rose in price from 330 to 342 of an average sale price, increase of about 3.6%, and they also have a little bit of an increase in inventory from 4.6 to 4.8. Now, the interesting thing about the increase in inventory is because this isn't as much of their in season. Their in season, tends to be November, December, January, February, when snowbirds are visiting and buying second homes, and international people are buying homes, and that obviously doesn't happen as much in the summer. Then when you look at townhomes and condos, again, a 17% increase in the average sale price in Sarasota County, an increase in inventory from 4.6 to 5.4, and then in Manatee County, townhomes and condos, you see the average sale price drop 3% from 205 to 199, but inventory again going up. So in our peak seasons, the inventory goes down, and the same thing happens there. Since it isn't their peak season, inventory is rising a little bit. But the $1 million market in Sarasota and Tampa Bay doesn't have the same obstacles. In other words, the saturation rates aren't as bad. It's a little healthier. The $1 million homes there are selling a little bit more quickly, and there's less inventory. So some of those issues aren't apparent there yet, but here in Tampa we're seeing some pressure on the higher end homes. So some interesting tidbits in the stats. The thing that I found interesting though was the year over year, the year over year drop in the number of home sales in Tampa. And interestingly, Sarasota and Manatee and a couple of the studies showed, single family homes and townhomes did have year over year drops in the number of home sales as well. So the year over year drop in sales shows, a trend that, could this be the start of a stabilization or a slowdown? And, there's no way to predict for sure, but I think a lot of economists are seeing that as a possibility. So we'll post all the statistics up on our page. We'll also have a video up on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/The Duncan Duo. Make sure to follow all of our social channels for when we aren't online. We give away a lot of cool Tampa Bay Lightning tickets and gear, and all those, on Twitter, we're at The Duncan Duo. We're the same on Instagram. We're facebook.com/The Duncan Duo Show. So make sure to like us and follow us there. And we'll put up this information so that you can stay up to date on what's going on in the market. So
the inventory really has been a big issue. I had a client this week that they put 11 offers in, 11 different houses before they could get one accepted. It wasn't like they were doing ridiculous offers. It was just timing and cash buyer here, just whatever situation. But it's frustrating for buyers out there right now to try and find a house. I'm hearing it day after day.
There's no question, and I think again it varies in price points. Again, if you're buying $1 million home, you're not going to have these challenges. You're not going to have the same challenges we're talking about. I mean, we've got a couple customers we're working with. We've got a hockey player we're working with, and they're not going to have the bidding wars, very often. Like we have in the the 150, the 250, 350, all the way up into the 4s in some neighborhoods where it's just super competitive. And I think Arnie and David, you guys can probably speak to this too. One of the important things when it's that competitive is getting your financial ducks in a row. Too many people wait until they find a house to get financing, and then the 2 days that they need, or a day, I mean obviously depending on what kind of information they have available to qualify them, they lose the house because they needed to act super fast.
Yeah, everything's happening really fast, and really what I thought was very interesting about those statistics, we talk about stabilization, but really if you look at the stats, the foreclosure sales have dropped over 50%.
Correct.
But the normal sales are actually pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, very little foreclosure sales. However, there's a concern that that the foreclosure sales aren't hitting the market because the banks are doing bulk deals, and I'm 100% aware that's happening because some of them are floating across my desk. Mm-hmm. So the banks are aligning with nonprofits and hedge funds, and that foreclosure inventory is hitting the market. It's just hitting the market 6 months down the line as a flip.
Right.
That a hedge fund bought.
I mean, a couple of years ago, every contract we had was a foreclosure. It was a bank owned property, and nowadays it's definitely more owner occupied homes or normal sales.
And I'll tell you,
true. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I did a foreclosure
very
inspection.
few.
Yep.
Few and far between.
That's crazy.
What I'll tell you is interesting about it though, and it's funny because we still have people that maybe they just haven't listened to the news in the last 2 years, and they come to us wanting a screaming deal on a foreclosure. Those don't really exist anymore, and if they did, insiders buy them before they hit the market.
Oh, yeah.
There just aren't any screaming deals out there. But we'll have people come to us and say, "Oh, I want a foreclosures today are being priced at retail." I mean, I'm looking at foreclosures, and I mean, we put this website together. We talk about it on the air a lot, TampaBaySmokingDeals.com, where we put all the best bargains on the marketplace. And we comb through, and obviously some of them are our listings, some of them are other listings. Man, it used to take me 6 minutes to come up with a list of the best buys. Now it takes forever. I mean, because it's hard to really find them, and we still put them out there. And again, it's at TampaBaySmokingDeals.com. It's about 150 plus properties, our listings, all over Tampa Bay, including Sarasota and Manatee. But the issue is that now it takes a lot more time to find them. I'm looking at foreclosures, and it's like, man, that's not even a good. That's overpriced as a foreclosure, and you're not even seeing the deals anymore on foreclosure.
And same thing for short sales. We're dealing with one of your clients, and they put an offer on a short sale, and we all know how long short sales can take to get an answer back from the bank. And as the times, as the months go by, the prices are just continuing to rise, and so now their offer that they made a couple months ago is no longer valid.
Right. Yeah, and not only that, the bank takes longer to reply because they know prices will go up.
Exactly.
So they know they're going to get more money.
A big challenge right
so they just
Moral of the story probably Forget it, if you're looking at short sale, forget it.
Short sales are tough right now.
They're
Sure.
extremely tough, and not only because the banks stall because they know they can get more money, but a lot of times, and again, this is certainly up to the bank, the seller, the agent, but you'll see them come out at these amazing prices, and you're like, how are you going to get this through the bank? And you make somebody makes an offer on it. And the only reason it got priced at that number was to get an offer in, to get a negotiator, get the bank working on it. And they knew the bank wasn't going to take that number, but they wanted to start the process. So sometimes we'll get buyers come up, I want to buy this right now. I'll pay cash and I want to close on it. And then they're angry because it's like it's a short sale. It doesn't really work that easily. When the bank plays the game and comes back and says, oh, we need 40 grand more for the house. Well, it was a tactic with the seller, the agent, their attorney, to get the process started, because the bank a lot of times won't really even start a full process till they have an offer. So short sales are definitely still a challenge. And like I said, the website we put together, I remember when we first started TampaBaySmokingDeals.com on the radio show, and I remember that it would take me, I'd pull a list of foreclosures, but that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. Oh, great, those are great prices. Now it's like, man, these prices look terrible. These are not smoking deals. These are retail. It's become really, really hard. But we still work hard to put together a good list. So if you want a great buy on real estate in the Tampa Bay area, check out TampaBaySmokingDeals.com.